We want to have Jesiz on one of these long-range poke champions, and that's why they banned away.
And there is that Thresh ban. They finally figured it out, ladies and gentlemen, and well, Froggen's face is like, damn, they figured out tactic out. What do we do?
The winning tactic from Alliance, is this what they need to actually break it here? But again, we talked about it in pre-show or pre-game, just before, how good Nyph is on Thresh, so they need to ban away. Nidalee, again, it's a response ban to the LeBlanc here, saying, we know what Jesiz wants to play, because that's why you're banning away the Assassin. So we make sure now you can't get this annoying champion, Nidalee.
Well, Yasuo and Renekton, the final 2 bans to come out, so first pick available. Lots of junglers, top laners. Freddy with the choice, he's typed it in. It is going to be Kha'Zix for Svenskeren, it seems.
So Lee Sin is still open, Evelynn is still open, even Elise, if the 2 junglers here want to play her after the nerfs, so there are multiple options for Shook, of course, if he wants to take something. But SK, they clearly show here, for them, Kha'Zix is going to be the #1 jungle pick if they decide to lock it in. On the other side, also looking at top laners, of course, Shyvana, Trundle, Malphite, Irelia, everything is open for Wickd here.
Well, look at that.
That was fast.
Instant lock for Shook. Going straight away back to that Evelynn has worked so well for him in the wins. We talked about the Thresh, but Evelynn has also been a very big part of that.
And this actually shows, at least for me, for some teams, I feel purple side is actually very strong now. You don't have to ban Kassadin anymore, you don't have to worry about this, so you're gonna have this extra ban compared to before. And it means now, with all these good junglers open, they can take one, trade 1 for 1 with jungle-wise, and now they have an extra pick for one of the stronger champions.
In the LCS, we prefer to call it the red side. Lucian is getting locked in, will be the most popular AD carry, continuing that dominance, and that's of course going to be for Tabzz.
And Lucian is just having a strong all-around game where Caitlyn, for instance, which is normally the counter pick or someone people pick Lucian into, your mid-game is weaker than Lucian's, and that's why everyone loves to play Lucian here, and in general we see it every single time, how good he is in the entire game.
Well, for SK Gaming, remember when they started picking up all those wins, they went 9 wins out of 11 games, something like that. There was a big period where Vayne was played alongside Annie. Both are available should SK want it. Not too sure where they're going to go for it at the moment. We are seeing Gragas potentially being hovered over by Jesiz.
And Vayne could definitely be an option because Candy Panda said the only champion he dislikes playing against is Caitlyn. And now Lucian is already locked in. We've seen him play against Lucian before, so it could be an option for them. Also now with, of course, Thresh being gone, so he doesn't have to worry about being hooked in or the lantern saving someone if he goes to fight.
Looks like maybe the top laner will be Freddy. He's going to get that choice. It's going to be fight Shyvana, whichever you'd like to call it. Pronunciation, tomato, tomato, all that malarkey. It is going to be that top laner, strong, tanky top laner. Is this going to leave Irelia open for Wickd?
But this is really showing SK Gaming saying we want to play the picks we used to do so well on. Gragas, of course, we have a long-range, farm-heavy champion for Jesiz. We have Shyvana in the top lane with Renekton being banned away for Freddy, so we have this split-pushing tank that he absolutely loves to play. And then, of course, with Kha'Zix in the jungle for Svenskeren, you have a strong duelist. He can apply early game pressure and also he can carry. If he gets a good start, he will really be hard to deal with for Alliance.
Zed, potential for Froggen here. It's a champion he's not been known for in the past. And if you cast your mind back to the summer 2013 when you were playing, we didn't really see him on it. Of course, we used to see the likes of Nuke on it all the time, who will of course be playing on the stage later on. Bjergsen, of course, as well, who's now over in North America. But it is going to be a switched away. They're going to leave that as their last final pick. It seems that it's going to be the Troll for Wickd. And that, of course, means Trundle's going to get locked in, as well as the Leona for Nyph.
Yeah, so the top lane choice is very simple for them. Trundle against Shyvana, you get the extra tanky stats when she's popping her ultimate, so a very good pick for Wickd, of course, and that's why they lock it in here. Save the mid lane pick as the last one to see the full combo of SK Gaming before they decide, because if SK is locking in a Vayne here, it's actually going to be risky playing Zed against it, because if Vayne gets a good start, gets a Blade Rune King early on, it's going to be hard for Zed to actually kill her in a split push.
See which way nRated wants to go. It generally is his choice, I feel, here on these final picks. There is the Vayne potentially locked in. Could be alongside Morgana, another strong champion in the current meta. But Graves, I don't think it's going to be Graves. He played it once before. Look, even nRated's like, no. Just no. Nope. No, that is not happening. Will we see that Vayne? We will. It is going to be Vayne and Morgana.
So we actually get Morgana. We haven't seen her for a while, but it's also because people haven't been picking Leona as often as they used to. But now, against Leona here, laning-wise, it can be a tricky one because Leona actually have some chances. You can put your E onto the enemy and you will actually get to them and then switch target away from the Black Shield. We've seen it being done in North America, of course, and you can actually do well in the lane as Leona. but when it comes to engaging team fights against the Black Shield, very, very hard. And that's the reason for this Morgana pick. So with SK Gaming's lineup here, you have Shyvana in one lane pushing. Of course, you have Vayne in the other lane. We know Candy Panda loves to split push. And then you have just Jesiz sitting in the mid lane, wave clearing all the time, applying pressure through there. So it simply means for Alliance side, they need to make sure they don't fall behind early, because then the split pushing will start from SK.
Yeah, you have some crazy burst damage coming out of SK Gaming if they were to get stacked up. Zed is still being considered for Froggen here. You was not sure about this decision with Vayne in there.
Well, the thing is, it goes two ways. It's gonna be such a skill matchup when it goes to the 1v1 between Candy Panda and Froggen here, because both of them have the ability to outplay each other. They can dodge each other's abilities, of course, and at the same time, it's gonna be who's gonna get the Blaze Rune King first. Obviously the Brutalizer for Zed here. If he gets it early on before Vayne, he can really start punish her in the 1v1s, shut her down early. However, if Vayne is getting the good start, he will be able to shut down Froggen here. So we need to see how they decide to play it. And Alliance, with Teleport here and Wickd, with Trundle, they're actually saying, we know you want to split push. Fine, we will counter it by just doing the exact same thing. So we're gonna leave Tabzz in the mid lane, not the AD carry, and then have Froggen in the side lane and have Wickd in the side lane, countering your split push. So we're gonna see a lot of 1v1s and 2v2s here. And one thing I like, both junglers can actually join in unseen. They can obviously, we have Stealth on Evelynn, and Kha'Zix with his ultimate can join in for the fights, surprise someone if they're trying to catch a member out or fighting 1v1.
Well, Alliance, of course, faced the mobility of those multiple teleports yesterday. They're going to try and see if they can use it in their advantage. Of course, we are on 4.4, so it's only a 200-second if you use it on the tower. We'll see how it works out for them. Of course, the two teams, well, they're ready to go, so let's see who you picked it who win here. According to LOLesports.com, 57% of you have voted for Alliance.
We have to agree. Alliance have been looking absolutely fantastic, and SK, yes, they've lost 2 games, but still, very strong team. We just need to see if the early game have improved, because the 2 games they actually lost, they just got destroyed early on, and then everything just crumbled for them. If they can manage to fix this, if Svenskeren is going to have a good early game here, shut down Sugar early on, SK Gaming could potentially win the game.
And that top spot's been a poison chalice for any team that manages to get up there. They all tumble straight down. We'll see whether SK and Gambit can hang on to that spot. They will be playing later on today, but right now it is SK Gaming facing off against Alliance, and this is a big, big game to start with, of course. Alliance themselves, they could get themselves in towards the top spot today, which is honestly unthinkable when you think of their beginning in the very first week of the European Spring Split. SK Gaming on your screens there as the blue team facing off against Alliance as the red team. And we could also see some level 1 fights. Remember, this is 4.4. The trinkets are on a 2-minute timer, so they are going blind unless they bring a ward, which is exactly what Alliance have done.
Yes, and Nyph bringing the ward here, he's going to have some masteries into the utility tree, so he's going to have the extra gold here for potion as well. And let's see what they decide to do. Candy Panda already spotting them out. It would actually be SK I would expect to do the early aggression here, because they have Morgana. You can fire blind, binding into a bush, and then go in there and see if you catch someone and then kill them. But now, SK, they did spot out Alliance, except for Shook now in stealth, of course, just scouting ahead of the rest of the team.
Well, I think it's going to be a red buff trade here. You do see SK up there. Actually, no. Freddy and Svenskeren are coming back. They're going to wait around the backside, it seems. Shook, of course, on Evelynn can be that forward scout. They did see the entire team coming in towards that bush, so SK know they have good knowledge of the position here and keeping it well covered, because nRated is probably going to pick out that Dark Binding if required. He hasn't skilled it up just yet, nor has Nyph. Nyph, nobody going for that first level 1 skill. Of course, it can be situational on whether anything happens.
And let's see if Wickd decides to just stay, even when minions spawn, because with the teleport, he can obviously just teleport up to his lane, and he can go for this red buff here early on with the rest of the team. And Shook still scouting away, he's not spotted, but SK, of course, they're still very scared here, and Candy Panda spotting them now.
Well, he's going to see the 4 of them coming around there. nRated fires off that Dark Binding, levels it up, and now Shook really gets some free hits on towards nRated, forces him away there. He will get the 5 gold, of course, and that Spell Thief's Edge, but that will be a red buff trade. You can see Svenskeren, he's going to be taking the top one. Nothing done to counter him in there. Wickd teleports back to top lane. He's going to be there in equal time to start off the farm.
Yeah, so nothing really happening too much here. Tabzz, of course, being caught out a little bit, and Candy Panda getting some very important damage onto him. Now Jesiz in the mid lane.
Jesiz caught out. Nyph did go for that roam, managed to land the stun on towards him, and that's a good trade for level 1 there. And Froggen's going to have a bit of an advantage as Jesiz chugs the potions.
But risky start for the bot lane here from Alliance, because they are not here to get the XP early on. They won't be able to push the wave up, so we're going to see early level 2, of course, for Candy Panda and nRated, which means for Alliance, they're going to give some early farm to Vayne, which can be scary.
Ooh, that Dark Binding nearly landing. Candy Panda ready to follow up on it quickly there. Does try and tumble in there, and he's keeping the farm very much away. You can see 8-2 already. Tabzz has not been able to get close to any of this CS.
Yeah, Tabzz got zoned out at first, and then of course with Nyph being in the mid lane, there was nothing he could do. He could never move down. 2 members from SK would just punish him, so that's why he stayed back wisely enough. But as we said, it's gonna mean he's falling behind in early CS to Vayne, and now look here, Shook coming towards the mid lane. There's still flash up for Jesiz.
Yeah, he didn't use it in the early exchange when Nyph came looking around there, but he's very far up the lane here. He's almost certainly going to take some damage. Will try and belly slam away from it and manages to avoid it.
And look what Alliance are doing. They're putting so much focus on getting Froggen ahead, because they know if he gets a good start, if he gets a few, either an early kill or some good farm early on, he's going to be very strong. And if he then can win the first fight against Candy Panda in the split pushing, then Alliance will have the big advantage when it comes to map control. So that's why they're putting so much focus on getting Froggen ahead.
It's a big differential for Candy Panda right now. That will be traded off a little bit here. Dark Binding and Tormented Sword landing on Nyph. That's going to give a good chunk of gold to nRated, as well as the damage done from Candy Panda. They are going to start getting some hits on this tower, and you can see in terms of farm, it's a 10 CS advantage purely based off that level 1 play.
And it's going to be hard for Shook to actually gank the lane simply due to the black shield of nRated. So he's going to block the CC from Nyph if he tries to set something up. And then without the level 6 on Shook, he won't be able to provide any CC himself. So it's going to be easy enough for SK to just run away without even having a ward. But let's see what happens now, because Shook is actually coming down and SK they are pushed very far up in this lane.
And they are not backing away. They have no idea, of course, because he is stealth up coming in towards there. Now they may realize it. Tabzz and Nyph's positioning may well give it away. They're going to ward out. They haven't backed away, and Shook biding his time on this one. Still got that double buff. They're going to catch on towards nRated. There's the black shield. That's what they wanted. They wanted to go for Candy Panda. The shield's already been used. One more hit's enough. It's first blood for Shook.
And look here what Nyph did. Just like we talked about in Champ Select, he can use his E onto Morgana, fade out the black shield, and then he instant flashed and stunned Candy Panda. No black shield to stop it. Very beautiful play by Nyph again.
So, that is first blood for Alliance. Let's see how it will transition as the game develops. Jesiz has been taking some serious punishment in this mid lane from Froggen, all built up by the play that Nyph had coming in with that Zenith play at start, and he has given himself a 10 CS advantage, continually putting pressure onto Jesiz.
Yeah, all this early pressure here, very nice by Froggen, capitalizing on it, getting some good early farm, and as long as he can continue farming and make sure Jesiz won't get any easy harass onto him, at level 6, if he's hitting it before Jesiz, and with Jesiz being on 50%, he can actually go aggressive and at least try and force the flash away. But Svenskeren now coming in here, just making sure nothing happens to Jesiz.
Simple babysitting, I feel here, and maybe a bit of lane tax as well. Shooky's going to come around just in case. Jesiz is going to get sport some time. He's going to back off. That's exactly what he wants to do, and you can tell that Froggen doesn't really want to allow him to back away. Shook's going to get caught out on the Svenskeren. Neither of them really trading on the big rates there, though.
But Shook, you just want to make sure also he knows where Svenskeren is, because for his case, for their point of view at the moment here, they need to make sure Jesiz gets some farm in the mid lane, because he's falling behind. They need to make sure, of course, that Alliance down in the bottom lane here won't capitalize on the fact that Candy Panda used both summoners on the first gank from Shook. So there's a lot of lanes here that Svenskeren actually needs to help.
Well, you do see Svenskeren laying in wait, trying to get a counter on this one down that bottom lane. Of course, the flash was used by Nyph, so he may well be the focused target, and of course they used it to set up that kill on Candy Panda. There's no ward in this forward bushes, I'll tell a lie, it's just on the corner there. He's going to spot out Svenskeren. Shook already reacting to it. Yeah,
and they need to be careful from SK's side, because Candy Panda was actually down to 50%, so it would be easy for Tabzz, if they went on to Nyph, the very tanky Leon already, to just punish Candy Panda and force him away. So Alliance playing it very smart, and of course Shook moving around, following Svenskeren on every move now, so in case a gank should happen, he will be there to counter gank.
Froggen putting pressure back on towards Jesiz every time he roams around. He has gone for a very deep ward for the raise there, so he can get vision of Shook early on. Nyph go pushing on towards nRated again, forces out that black shield, but this time around it's going to be a good Dark Binding followed by a Condemn from Candy Panda, pinning Nyph onto that wall. He got a good trade.
Yeah, but while Nyph is taking the damage from Alliance, it's Candy Panda getting hit by Tabzz every single time. He's making sure Candy Panda will never be able to fully join the fight. at least he would risk dying, because again, there's no barrier, at least for the next few seconds.
Freddy's gone towards that Vampiric Scepter. We'll see whether he goes to that Tiamat, maybe heading towards the Ravenous Hydra late on. It's what he tends to go towards, and of course Wickd has yet to go back at the moment, just still sitting on that Doran's shield and actually doing very well in farming this top lane.
Wickd doing a very good job making sure he's getting this slight CS lead, and Trundle against Shyvana 1v1 later on. If he saves his ultimate for when Freddy actually pops his own Dragon Descent, then he's gonna get of course more stats from Freddy here, making him very tanky, very hard to kill. So this matchup, we really need to follow it closely, and if Wickd can keep this CS lead going, he will have a good time when it comes to split pushing later.
Blue buff going to be given across towards Jesiz, does manage to complete that one. That's going to be required, honestly, I feel, against Froggen, because Froggen is on a mission in that mid lane. He's going to get himself his own blue buff as Shook will transfer this one. Of course, Shook could take it himself. It's a possibility that Evelyn can run around with that blue buff, but Shook wants it for the cooldown, so Froggen does.
And also Froggen with Brutalizer as the first item really shows he's not scared of Jesiz at all. He's not scared of the poke from him. He doesn't need the early sustain from a Vamp Scepter, so he's gone straight for damage. No sustain, but it means if he finds someone out here with his ultimate, he's gonna have so much burst already at this early stage.
He's going to be taking the race. We see that Shook was doing, Jesiz was doing exactly the same thing. Those poor junglers, they don't tend to get them anymore despite the changes that came in the 2014 patch. As it stands, Wickd is going to go back for the first time. Let's see what he comes back with. Will it be that Sunfire Cape? Will he go aggressive? Who knows? Froggen continuing that farm dominance. Still kept that 10 CS advantage that he's held over Jesiz the whole game.
And he's always keeping Jesiz just lower than himself. Every time he takes a barrel in his face, he makes sure he can trade some damage back to Jesiz, and it means for him he's always going to have the pressure in here. And it also means that Svenskeren, he needs to come in to the mid lane and babysit Jesiz, because there's always a risk of either Shook coming in or just Froggen going by himself onto Jesiz, forcing either a summoner or just straight up killing him.
Yeah, and we need to keep our eye on Svenskeren. The impact that he's going to have on this game used to be very impactful for SK Gaming. As of the last few games, has been a little bit lackluster compared to his previous performances. He is going to try and make a gank down this bottom lane again. There is no ward coverage this time in that bottom bush.
They are pushing very far up to the turret, so they will actually have to dive onto Alliance here, which can be very scary against Leona. Of course, now level 6 onto Nyph, so he's going to have a lot of CC to bring. And Svenskeren, he's gonna either have to run in here, wait for Alliance to push the wave all the way down, and then try and engage with nRated, or he just have to wait for Evelyn to actually come and then counter gank it.
It's just off the edge of the screen was a ward in that bottom bush. You couldn't quite get vision of it because there is a giant tab screen there. It is just below that tab right now. There it is. You can see, which is why obviously we didn't see Svenskeren come around there. He was waiting to go into the river area because they knew there was no ward coverage there, but unfortunately, Alliance seem to have this very much covered in the lane phase.
Everything is going correct for Alliance here. The only thing they will want, of course, to go better is the fact that there's already 80 CS onto the Vayne. You want to make sure you can shut it down early, and Candy Panda's been doing a good job farming. Yes, he died once, but he's been keeping open farm here. So as long as he can farm, get the Blade of the Rune King, SK Gaming will still have some very good split pushing ideas at least, but if they can manage, if Alliance just start shutting him down, if Froggen roams down to bot lane or Shook comes down to bot lane and they kill him over and over, then they will shut down pretty much the only chance for SK to split push.
Well, Freddy's starting to feel very confident in his top lane, despite the fact he is down 13 CS. He's trying to keep that tower pressure on towards Wickd. He hasn't shopped yet, but he's actually got no reason to, because he's not remotely pressured, and he's still keeping the farm going. He's sat on 3,200 gold.
And this reminds me of the time where Wickd was playing Aurelia against actually Freddy and Dr. Mundo, where he waited before he could actually buy a full Trinity Force on his first back. And of course Freddy did the same thing there. They farmed to like the 15-minute mark before they actually backed. And now finally he's backing off, instantly buying Blade of the Rune King and teleporting to the turret, so of course 100 seconds less cooldown.
And that's going to be a shock for Freddy. He's going to have to use that Dragon Descent to get across, but he's going to find himself Froggen using that ultimate, passes straight through the wall. He's going to get the pop. Not enough. Yes, it is. It will tick finally, and Froggen gets the kill.
So Freddy here being a little bit too greedy for the minions. Shook was up there, of course, the teleport behind him from Wickd, and then Froggen just roaming up. Again, Jesiz is not applying any pressure onto Froggen in the mid lane, so he could just freely roam. Now he's going to return and get the big minion wave.
Now that they know the position of Shook, they are going to try and create some pressure on this bottom lane, and it is needed pressure. Of course, Candy Panda, he's keeping well in that farming. He is down to death, though, towards his bottom lane. There's the Cologne being used. That may well signal it for Kazik Svenskeren, but he's just backing off to take the golems for now.
And look how Alliance are playing the lane, because they didn't see Svenskeren in the fight up in top lane. They haven't seen him around the mid lane, so they knew there was only one, or there were two places he could be. Either he was farming the jungle, or he was waiting for a gank down in the bot lane. That's why they stayed so far back and actually used the ultimate from Tabzz to just clear the wave, because there was such a high chance Svenskeren was around this area.
Well, Svenskeren will take that red buff as it stands. We are going to see Froggen go back. What's he going to come back with? It is going to be almost the Blade of the Rune King, not quite as quick as we saw Wickd going towards that one. Svenskeren, he's returned back to lane, got himself the Bilgewater Cutlass and an armor, so making sure he doesn't get caught out quite so much by the burst this time around.
It's gonna be scary for SK. Once the Blade of the Rune King is completed with the Brutalizer from Froggen, it's the two key items for him to actually start split pushing. Of course, Wickd already with Blade of the Rune King, so he's just gonna stay in the top lane. And then we can see Alliance rotating their bottom lane into the mid and then Froggen down bot. But for now, they're starting the dragon up. There's a ward from SK though, and they are nearby.
They're close, but there's only a few of them here at the moment. Candy Panda was not with them, and this dragon is going down very, very quickly. You can see it's going to get dropped down. One more hit should do it. Svenskeren waiting to go for this one. Instead, Nyph goes aggressive on him. He's going to flash away, but it kept him locked up so they could get that dragon secured.
So dragon for Alliance. We even have Wickd moving down from the top lane in case a fight was gonna break out. So here, very good play by Alliance, getting dragon, and of course can now go back to the lanes. Freddy though, getting a lot of damage on this turret. He will actually be able to take it.
Yeah, Wickd used that teleport earlier on to get back to lane, and you can see that minions may well take it down. One more hit should be enough, but he didn't take it. The minions do not get the tower down. Red buff is also being stolen away by Svenskeren. He just got his own one a moment ago. They may turn aggressive here on Wickd.
But very good counterplay from SK, getting red buff of course and almost getting the top turret. It's just one hit for them, so very good counterplay. Now going on to Wickd.
They jumped in, but I'm not too sure they've got enough damage. They're going to have to tank this one through, and of course Wickd has that ultimate available to him. Jesiz was coming up, and if they'd have delayed just for that little bit longer, they may well have been able to bait him into that kill.
But still, they actually got the turret now. So for SK Gaming, responding to the dragon with the turret, with the red buff, and of course getting at least some pressure onto Wickd. He didn't actually have to use anything, not even his Blade of the Rune King to escape.
Bottom lane now, keeping that pressure going. Blue buff will go across towards Jesiz and Nyph. He's been very aggressive on this Leona, really pushing SK to the limits. He is spotted out by that ping ward though, so he's going to be careful. He's got the presence with Shook in this jungle, and of course they're just simply finding ping wards. They completely know the positioning. Red buff was already taken. No objectives to be gained.
Well, we do have two good wards from SK, or actually three of them in the top side of the jungle for Alliance, so they will have full vision of Shook when he goes in there to get his red buff, or Froggen to get his red buff of course, so they can at least spot them out. But down in their own jungle here, it's Alliance with the control, so we should see Shook come down into this jungle area again and then try and set something up if SK wants to go aggressive in any of the lanes.
Oh, Shook passing by yet another ward, getting pinged out the moment he goes up there, so they have good coverage of him right now. Jesiz does keep that farm going in the mid lane, and of course didn't get anything on that assist. They yet to get a kill for SK Gaming as of yet, and they are, honestly, they're not really looking for the kills. They're happy to farm.
Happy to farm so far, both teams of course. Svenskeren not been doing anything when it comes to ganks. He's been around this bot lane quite often, waiting for something to happen from Shook or trying to set a gank up, but was just never in a position to do it because the bottom lane from Alliance played so careful, always stayed back, didn't want to risk anything, unless Shook was nearby for himself of course. But now he's back in this bottom lane. There should be no ward in this bush for once, so you can actually sneak in.
Yeah, for the first time, Nyph is going to allow him to
and
sneak in there, but of course, the rest of Alliance have completely backed away from this one. Shook is nearby, and he may sneak in towards their own bottom bush.
And of course, there was a ward deep inside from Alliance side, so they spotted him coming in towards the turret. That's why they backed off, took the big wave. And now, yeah, as you said yourself, Shook coming in here. No pink ward, so SK, they don't know he's here.
Meanwhile, trying to go aggressive. Candy Panda realizing he has no support, no jungler. He's going to back well away from that one. Or is he? He's going a little bit too deep here. There's no flash for Nyph though, so he's not going to be able to try and flash Zenith Blade onto him. No fancy shenanigans for him this time around. Instead, they're just going to stranded push straight in towards that tower. Remember, this bottom turret will be weak. Tabzz tries to bait Candy Panda in there, puts a lot of damage down on with the Cullen, drops him below half health already.
And there's nobody close from SK's side. Svenskeren is all the way up here at the Wraith camp. He's moving towards the bottom lane in case something should happen. Shook still staying here. He's been here for a long time, but look SK here. Smart move, going back to the golems. Don't want to risk anything and just want to lifesteal back on Candy Panda.
Well, instead, Svenskeren, he wants to try and help out his mid lane, Jesiz, who's trying to create that pressure, but he's now going to get spotted out. That ping ward will give his presence away. Alliance know they've got a 3-on-2 situation here. There's going to be the Dark Shield, but again, they target nRated this time around. Nyph getting caught out by that Dark Binding. It will be a return kill, but Candy Panda flashes away. Shook gives chase. He manages to flash on towards him. Will there be enough hate spikes? I don't think there will. Candy Panda's going to get the Condemn back up in a moment. If he needs it, one more hit from Shook will be enough. And he takes him down.
Yeah, too long cooldown on Condemn. Couldn't actually save him, but Jesiz now onto Shook here.
He's going to try and catch him out. Jesiz will get away here, just belly dashes away. No problems there. And Shook tries to get himself a second or a third kill, technically.
So we actually had Svenskeren coming down, killing Tabzz after the dive in bot lane. We're going to see the replay here of Svenskeren coming in. Tabzz staying here, he kills the turret, but then 1v1 against the Kha'Zix. Not a fun matchup. We see, of course, the ultimate being popped here. So Svenskeren getting a good kill for himself, finally actually joining in the game. And meanwhile, the dive itself, we saw the same thing from Nyph. He goes onto Candy Panda here, baits out the Black Shield, and then he instantly stuns the Morgana next to him, and they just kill her nRated.
Keeping them guessing, doesn't know where he's going to go. Freddy's having to go back to his top lane. He's going to try and clear out that wave. Jesiz going a bit of aggressive here on Froggen. He's going to turn this one around. He's got the support of Nyph. Will they go for the tower dive? The pop is not enough, but the ignite should be. And he gets another kill.
And wow, so Froggen, he's gonna be huge this game. 2 kills already, Blade Throw King completed at 18 minutes, of course, with Brutalizer now Pickaxe. He's gonna go towards the Last Whisper as the next item. He's gonna do so much damage, and he's gonna be able to 1v1 everyone, even Freddy up here in the top lane.
It's gonna be a serious problem. Meanwhile, Wickd up against Freddy in his top lane. He's got that Warden's Mail and Ninja Tabi, so not too worried about Freddy's pressure, but when Svenskeren gets involved, it could turn things around. Svenskeren is a level 11 now. He's going to have those wings. He jumps in, but he used that jump way too early. Has to flash for it instead. They do get the kill, and there was a lot burned to get it.
And Svenskeren really doing work here now, picking up 2 kills for himself. This is what SK need. They need Kha'Zix to get some very early items so he can actually duel someone like the Zed, or at least join in for team fights and be this very annoying bug to deal with.
Could be the top turret down. They're going to have to react to this one because SK Gaming, they could keep pushing. They've got the minion wave. The second one is conga lining its way up the lane, and they are going to keep on pushing. Instead, Alliance, they're going to go for Dragon. They may lose an inhibitor turret here.
But Candy Panda is recalling, so SK are just giving up the Dragon to Alliance. Let's see top lane wise. They're actually backing off now because Wickd is going to respawn, and of course Alliance can go back to base and help him clear the wave here. So they're not going to lose anything else other than, of course, the second top turret up there and giving up a kill. So SK doing a good job trying to respond to the early pressure here, but this guy in the mid lane, he's still going to be a big issue.
Froggen could well be a big issue. Svenskeren takes himself away the Wraiths and heads back away from this one. Froggen may find him actually. He's just going to clear out that camp. Knows that Svenskeren managed to take it. Let's actually take stock and look at some of the items, see where these are going, because both supports, while they started off very different, we're seeing the Face of the Mountain is almost completed now for Nyph. It's just Targon's Embrace still currently. Meanwhile, nRated, of course, started out with that Spell Thieves. He's now upgraded towards the Frostfang. So both getting them GP10 items going. Very different way of playing though.
And it wouldn't even surprise me if Nyph decides to sell his Targon and pick up the Talisman instead for the utility to the team, of course. It's not always we see him fully complete to the Face of the Mountain to get the shield. So let's see what he decides to do. Of course, for invaded side, he want to keep the Spell Thieves for now, get some extra gold out of Frostfang, of course. And I would actually not even be surprised if he sold it as well and just bought a Talisman.
You talk about the Zed, of course, with that ultimate. It does do a lot of damage. Let's not discredit that. But if the Zhonya's gets completed by Jesiz, if Candy Panda say goes for, I don't know, something to mean
Quicksilver Sash would help him.
Quicksilver Sash, try and get out of it. Surely they can negate Froggen if they reach that time in the game.
That's always been one of the issues for Zed, is there you can itemize against him to make sure his ultimate is not going to be as effective. Of course, the Guardian Angel is one of the best items as well. So that's what SK need to do, but they still need time, they need gold before they can get these items, because they cannot afford not buying any other items than just pure defensive against the Zed.
Oh, they caught the Dark Binding on Tabzz, followed it up by a barrel. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Wickd also used his ultimate and is still really struggling against Freddy in that top wave.
But look what we're seeing on the map here, but Svenskeren going on to Shook, backing off a little bit, but look at the map. Top lane wise, we have the 1v1. Down bottom lane, Froggen against Candy Panda, just like we talked about. And in the mid lane, the AD carry, of course, supporting both junglers against Jesiz here and nRated and Svenskeren.
Continuing to keep that pressure going. Meanwhile, down that bottom is Froggen and Candy Panda, keeping him away from that tower. They're SK trying to keep that pressure on the tower, but without a ranged AD carry, any ranged anything to put damage on it, they're simply having to get up and melee it, and that's not working. They're going to try and collapse on towards Froggen here, though. You can see Svenskeren rushing down the river. He's got nRated with him. Candy Panda's giving chase. Froggen's well aware of this situation. He may try and get himself a kill, puts the pink ward down to try and give him a vision of Candy Panda. Tries to go back in towards it. It's not going to be enough to pop him, and now he's going to try and get away from this one. The burst is there from Svenskeren, but Shook joins the party. They're going to get the kill on towards Svenskeren. Froggen may get taken down by the Ignite. Yes, he will. The rest of Alliance do react, and nRated goes down as well. Great turnaround from Alliance.
So you see the pink ward down here in the bottom of the screen. Froggen, he puts it down just before the fight. So even though Candy Panda pops the ultimate, he's still having vision of him. Jumps, gets him low, and then tries to escape.
Of course, Wickd, he's just gone back, use that teleport to get down there, straight back to that top lane, defend the inhibitor turret. Candy Panda now caught out by Shook there, has to condemn him back in towards the push to keep him away. There's going to be a big wave of minions. Tabzz using that ultimate to try and keep Jesiz away from that mid tower.
And just like you talk about here in the mid lane, there's no ranged champion for SK to actually hit the turret. So we see, of course, Jesiz just wave clearing, and then we see Tabzz waiting in his own turret, just clearing the wave by himself. Nothing really happening here. You need multiple members from SK to rotate here. You need them to win the 1v1 either in the top lane, and then Freddy running down with the rest of the team, taking down the turret. Otherwise, they just have to stand there and trade farm between Tabzz and Jesiz.
But without the pressure being applied onto Candy Panda, he's getting that farm down that bottom lane, and that's always a danger for any Vayne in a game. Mid lane tower did take some good damage there from Jesiz. They finally got themselves some free time. Red buff's going to get picked up by Candy Panda, and we may see the next fight being maybe around the dragon, who knows, or maybe going to start pushing for a tower. At the moment, both teams seem happy to keep the lane phase going for as long as possible.
We're just going to see a lot of split pushing. We're going to see a lot of 1v1 and 2v2 fights, and then we're going to see which team is rotating the fastest around the map. It was SK before sending down members to the bot lane. It was actually Alliance then responding, because Shook, of course, was following behind there, getting kills onto Alliance side. So we just need to see which team actually can rotate the fastest with the 3 members in the mid lane. And of course, we need to see Wickd against Freddy, and of course Candy Panda against Froggen. Who's going to beat who?
Shook thinking of maybe getting around on towards Freddy, as Svenskeren is heading up that way though. Freddy's going to get caught out. He's going to have to use that Dragon Descent early on to try and escape this one. Svenskeren's backed away. It's going to be a 2-on-1 situation. There is the Dragon Descent. Did get the slight slow from the Pillar of Ice, but it's just not enough, and Freddy runs off.
But they got the ultimate, and they got the Blaze Rune King pop from Freddy. No flash, of course, used, so he's still going to have his summoners ready. He can continue just pushing up in his top lane. He just needs to be careful the next few seconds, because if Evelyn comes back here, he could be in trouble, and that's actually why we see him rotating now down towards with the team. He doesn't want to risk Shook being there once again.
Well, Dragon is up in 50 seconds time. I wonder if that may well be a focus for them. Teleport not available for Wickd either, so those 2 top laners, they're either going to have to make their way down that river, or they're going to be out of this fight. And I gotta be honest, I think Alliance may well fancy it. Froggen could pick someone off very quickly in this fight.
Yes, so far both top laners staying up there, so we could have a 4v4, and of course, Froggen, he's gonna be the man to watch in these fights. But of course, Shook, very tanky already, having some good items. He's gonna do a lot of damage as well if he gets onto the backline of SK.
And itemization-wise, Jesiz has got the Zhonya's, and there's a QSS for Candy Panda, so both are set ready for this fight. If Dragon is going to be up in 10 seconds, Freddy's taking some pressure from Wickd early on here. That's maybe going to force him out of this fight. He's going to really keep pressure on towards him. And now Wickd, look at that, instantly turns, runs down the river. He's heading for that Dragon fight.
And with the QSS here, it's gonna be so hard for Froggen to find the right target. He might even go for Svenskeren when he goes in, but of course he's gonna have the stealth, and now onto nRated.
He's dived on nRated, maybe not the target, but he manages to get it nonetheless, and then uses his shadow to get back into the pit. Beautifully done by Froggen. The Dragon picked up by Alliance as well.
Perfect play, getting Dragon, getting a kill here. Yes, he used the ultimate, so he won't have it for the fight if in case SK wants to engage.
Fantastic stuff there. So Alliance have themselves the advantage. They are now, well, 3 dragons to the good. They are 2-1 down in turrets, let's not forget that, but I feel that's just simply money in the bank along the top and that mid lane. Shook, well, and Froggen going to catch out Candy Panda. No ultimate available for Froggen just yet, but I'm not too sure whether they're even going to need it. Candy Panda does use that ultimate, condemns on Froggen, but can he run away from this one? Trying to kite it round the barrier, simply not enough damage, and Alliance will get themselves a 9th kill.
It's a very good kill here. If they actually manage also to defend the mid turret, so Alliance didn't lose anything on getting the kill down here, and of course, Froggen didn't have his ultimate. It's gonna be ready though for next time they fight. And now Svenskeren, he wanna smite this one.
He's gonna get it. Tabzz instead stole it away there. Jesiz, meantime, finds out Nyph there. Nyph flashes away, doesn't manage to get his shield down, uses the Zenith Blade on Candy Panda and his ultimate, but it's not enough to help the escape, and Jesiz will finally lock him down. That gives 4-man pressure on towards his mid turret.
Yeah, nice pickup here by Jesiz. They can get this turret. Only 2 members from Alliance defending, and there's no ultimate on Tabzz.
This time around, Freddy does manage to melee. Oh, short caught in the dark binding. That should be enough, but no! Flashes away. Svenskeren tries to chase, but he is going to be long gone before he gets close.
And Wickd is up here now. Svenskeren actually forced to use the ultimate to escape, and SK now backing off. Froggen joining in. Ultimate is ready. Flash is ready. Let's see if he can set something up.
Alliance may try and turn this one on its head. They have got their AD carry there. If they want to put pressure on towards the turret, instead they choose to step away from this one. They have 2 members in the base, and maybe wisely done their Alliance have a big advantage so far. 5,000 gold advantage overall, despite the fact they are down on turrets.
And let's see if Froggen actually wants to go down and try and fight against Candy Panda. Now we have the QSS completed, or Quicksilver Sash completed onto Candy here. It's going to make it a lot harder for Froggen to kill him, and he might not even want to take the chance and try and rotate up top lane instead and find Freddy.
Youmuu's Ghost Blade being picked up by Froggen. He wants some of that speed. We'll see how he makes use of this one, because he's already causing so many problems at 3 kills and 3 assists with just that 1 death. And maybe we'll see how it works out for him.
And Froggen is actually going towards this top lane here, so he doesn't want to go down to the bot lane, doesn't want to deal with Candy Panda. Gonna try and 1v1 Freddy instead, who's of course very tanky, has a lot of armor at the moment, but also it's gonna be easier for Froggen to escape from Freddy if a fight should happen. And now onto Candy Panda here.
Candy Panda and Shook, simply the jungler going aggressive, realizing he can take down his AD carry. Of course, this is a very fed AD carry, but it may well be a little bit too much. Teleport coming in, Candy Panda backs away. He actually got cancelled out. That was Wickd thinking he was required. And Shook suddenly realizing he's not as strong as he thought he was.
Yeah, and Candy Panda also really showing how strong he is on this vein at the moment. Of course, with the red potion, didn't have any summoners, and still he was winning the fight here. So Shook used the ultimate, of course, he tried to get some pressure on here, but didn't actually have enough damage.
Well, pressure is on the mid lane, because you can see Tabzz getting some free shots on here. Jesiz doesn't go too aggressive. Meanwhile, in that top lane, we do see Froggen keeping that pressure on towards Freddy. He is keeping him on towards that tower, and this is what they want. They want to start getting some tower pressure down, because they can't take any of that vision away from SK while these towers still stand.
And Froggen just want to poke down Freddy a little bit before he goes all in, and once he actually all ins, even if he doesn't get the kill, he's going to force Freddy out of the lane, and then he can pick up the turret up top. So it's pretty much win-win for him, unless he gets ganked by someone like Svenskeren.
Pink ward clearance from Froggen. He returns back to that top lane. Freddy trying to run interference is going to go back around and maybe take away that pink ward that was just put in the Baron pit. Wickd, he's off on his own, and he's got 2 members of SK collapsing in towards him here. He has got that Banshee's Veil completed. We saw him doing that yesterday when he realized he had no worry about his top laner. I'm too sure he could say the same about Freddy just yet.
And here we go with Froggen.
Froggen's going to go out towards Freddy. He manages to keep up with that living shadow. The pop's not quite enough. Freddy may well be able to escape from this one. There's the speed buff. The ignite is running. Shook is going to try and sneak around the side. We'll see whether Freddy manages to back completely. Shook, I feel, fancies a tower dive, and Freddy, well, he does go very deep here, and Shook actually a little out of position now.
Yeah, Shook could actually just have stayed around the top turret if he had taken it with Froggen, but nRated, he's coming up to defend. Again, if Shook didn't chase, he could have stayed, hit the turret a few times with Froggen, possibly wouldn't be able to kill it because nRated is there.
nRated may be in trouble. They've actually cancelled the recall on Froggen. They're thinking, can we take him? Should we go for him? They've got a minion wave coming in. They may fancy it. They see nRated passing that Tribush ward, and Shook is tracking his movements right now, but Freddy's back. Freddy's full health. He's going to return to defensive duties, but I think they're going to lose that top turret.
Yeah, so they are going to lose it, just like we said here with Freddy. The issue for him is, once Froggen actually goes onto him, he's forced to just back away. So even though he doesn't die, he will lose his turret, and they can just continue doing this if they keep Froggen against Freddy. And that's why once we have the flash ready onto Candy Panda, I expect him to go up top lane and try and find Froggen, and then he can try and hold him and have the 1v1 duel we talked about in Champ Select.
Again, this Svenskeren desperately trying to create something, but again, stood on top of a ward. Alliance's ward coverage has been fantastic this game.
Pretty spot on every single time, and also just them thinking, where can Svenskeren be at the moment? We haven't seen him for a while. He wasn't top for the fight, so there's a chance he's bot lane. We're not going to do anything. So they've been playing very smart, very safe, and also relying a lot on Shook being nearby before they want to start something.
4 members of Alliance grouping up for this mid lane. This time around, Tabzz fancies it. Jesiz is going a little bit aggressive, but takes some burst stack back there. Nyph tries to use that onto ultimate. The solar flare does not land on Jesiz, but it forces him away from the turret, and it's now 3 outer turrets for Alliance.
Yeah, Jesiz has been defending for a while here, just wave flaring all the time, making sure Alliance could never get close, but in the end here, when there come multiple members, they force him away, of course, just taking it. And Dragon now spawned. No ultimate onto Leona, no ultimate onto Lucian, of course, but Alliance are still in a very good position to pick it up.
Perfect timing for Alliance here. They've gone straight aggressive as well. Managing to put some damage on towards Svenskeren. He's going to try and jump in for this one. Does not get it. It's going to be Lucian. Tabzz that closes that one out. They're going to catch on towards Nyph. Nyph's happy to take all of that damage. It's a brilliant, messy fight here. They're not quite sure which target to focus on. nRated's ultimate's going to poke off there. We do see Shook managing to take down Svenskeren. Freddy's now in trouble. He's going low as well. The rest of Alliance going to close back in towards this one. The Culling going backwards. Freddy going to get focused. Froggen should pick up the kill here. It's a double for him. And now nRated's in trouble. He's running for his life. He goes down. It's a 4-for-0. And the Dragon for Alliance. That's not what SK needed. Fantastic.
5 members from Alliance going straight to Baron. Only Candy Panda is alive. He's far away in the base. He's going to have to pull out a hero move here if he wants to stop this Baron.
I don't think he's going to be able to. He's simply just going to farm out that mid wave. He knows that the Baron's almost certainly going to go down. And honestly, he couldn't even get there in time.
Couldn't even get there in time. And this team fight, once we see the replay, we really need to notice the focus from SK. They actually, notice here when we start, in the Dragon Pit, we have Shook, of course, and Wickd running into the Dragon Pit. Look here what Jesiz is doing. He's gonna body slam into the 2 tanks. You have squishy members up here in the top side, but instead he goes into the pit, into Shook, into Wickd, happily tanking away all the damage. Shook is not even dying from this because he's so tanky at this point. And it simply means the rest of the members from SK, they won't be able to win the fight here because there's so much focus on the tanks from Alliance.
Fantastic performance on Alliance. It was a pretty messy fight. Everybody was sort of fighting their own little battles, but Alliance suddenly managed to call the target pile on the right one, and once you saw Shook, he was already backing away in the pit, and suddenly obviously the call came out. We are clearly winning this fight. We're going to go for it.
Yeah, and obviously it gets easier for them when people actually go towards your tanks. They want to hit your tanks. They weren't even in the front line. They were in the Dragon Pit. SK had the chance to collapse onto the back line of Alliance, but they didn't. They went instead to try and kill Shook, and he even survived.
Well, of course, Alliance with that Baron buff on, they do lose themselves that bottom turret. It was a big thing, a big objective that Candy Panda's finally managed to take down there, but Alliance are grouping up, and they have 4 members in this mid lane. Of course, there is Wickd down the bottom, who actually has Svenskeren and Candy Panda waiting to try and assassinate him. But we also see Froggen and Shook doing exactly the same thing in this mid lane.
Yeah, so SK really want to try some very aggressive move. And now onto Jesiz.
Jesiz has to back away. The Culling comes in. Solar Flare lands on towards nRated. He's going to be the focus target. That's going to go down. There's nothing stopping it. That's going to be the pop coming straight in there. Now Jesiz is going to get the focus. Shook and Froggen coming towards that one. There's Onya's Hourglass being used. And now Freddy realizes he's taking the burst damage coming out from Alliance. Froggen goes deep. He's got that Guardian Angel. He doesn't even need it. It's going to be minions. The inhibitor going down. Wicked surviving in this bottom lane. They're continuing to try and chase. We may get a kill on him eventually. Wicked's running for his life. He's almost limping away here. Will he get the Pillar of Ice? There's the jump coming in. Doesn't get the burst. Gets the jump back. The lifesteal in there. Svenskeren gets the kill, but he simply goes down straight afterwards. The inhibitor turret went down as well. And Alliance taking many advantages over SK.
So SK Gaming tried to get a kill down the bottom lane and then just have Jesiz wave clearing here in the mid lane with the black shield. But Alliance, they just said, we don't even care. We have 4 members here. We already have Guardian Angel onto our Z, of course, so we just dive you straight up. Get the kill, get the turrets, get the inhibitor. And Wicked, because he was kiting for so long, it actually meant that they got even a kill onto Svenskeren.
And of course, all those Thorn Mails being used. And now the Captain's Boots as well being picked up by Wicked. He's going to be that big front man. And this is the pile-on.
This is just what they're desperate to make a play here. And Wicked was actually teleporting, so he didn't even see what's going on here. That's why he didn't react to anything. Now they just chase him away. Look how tanky he is, though. It's so hard to kill. And just continue jumping, continue. And meanwhile, in the mid lane, inhibitor gone down. And now the rest of Alliance can then come up and at least get a trade kill onto Svenskeren.
So close as well. And almost got to victory there. His team was there. If he'd have carried on running, I feel he may well have got away there.
But we have to say at least, SK Gaming did actually the only thing they could do in this situation, because wave clear onto Car6 and Vayne is non-existent at this point. So they had to just keep at least Jesiz to try and hold the Alliance off and then set something up elsewhere on the map so they can get an advantage, get a turret maybe. So SK did what they actually could in the situation. It just didn't work for them at all because Alliance was so far ahead.
It's 5-man defensive duties for SK, but Wickd is pushing back up in that mid lane with super minions alongside him, and that is going to cause some sort of issues for SK Gaming because those super minions will continue to wave clear in that mid lane. SK continue to have to defend this one. Froggen's waiting in the wings. Remember, he's still got that Guardian Angels on him. He's ready to dive.
Yeah, and Wickd coming in here, just taking the pink ward for now. Obviously, not even going to take any damage due to the Banshee. But up top lane here, a big wave for SK actually pushing down. So they only have to worry about defending here. And of course, going into the mid lane to clear the super minions. But it's very easy for Jesiz to go and throw down a barrel and then come back. Or send Candy Panda in there to get some more farm.
Candy Panda's had to go back to deal with those super minions, which surely triggers SK Gaming stepping away from this tower. Alliance are going to come in. Wicked's going to tank this one up. And SK, if they don't abandon now, they're going to get caught out. Jesiz may be the focus. Instead, nRated will be the Cullen doing all the damage on him. He's already gone down. Explosive gas from Jesiz simply separates Alliance as they regroup. Nyph is going to take all the damage from Candy Panda. Not really the focus they should be going for. Instead, Svenskeren will get picked off. Froggen's GA was popped in that. Has to flash away from the barrel from Jesiz there. Shook going to keep on pushing in there, and SK, well, they did pretty well. It's Candy Panda comes in, gets himself a sneaky kill on Shook. It's a 2-for-1 trade. Oh, Candy Panda caught out by Tabzz. That's going to be a 3-for-1, and Alliance take themselves a turret. So
with 3 kills and a turret here, Alliance can continue pushing up. They're a bit squishy though. Jess is actually back to wave clear, so they should just back off, get some health back, of course, push out this top lane here, but they decide to dive the turret, and even when they're diving onto SK Gaming, they're winning the fights. This really shows how far ahead they are.
But for a team that's 14,000 gold down, that was actually still pretty damn close. They took Froggen's Guardian Angel down, nearly killed him off there as well. They did get Shook down. This is starting to become dangerous. Alliance have to start closing this game out pretty quick.
Well, again, Alliance combo, they can always just say, we don't actually want a team fight, we're just going to put Wickd in one lane, put Froggen in the other lane, and have Tabzz stay in the mid lane, and just force SK Gaming to use multiple members to kill someone. That's what they can do and just push down every single lane. SK's combo here, team fight wise, is actually very strong. And of course, with Candy Panda, if he can just stay in the back line, we know how strong lane is lane. And of course, Shyvana can tank a lot of damage, Svenskeren a lot of damage. Jesiz, not having a death cap yet is going to hurt him. He's not going to have enough damage, but at least he's there for wave clearing, and also his ultimate will always do damage.
At the moment, the Baron is up in a minute's time, and that is, well, I believe will be the focus. I'm just seeing actually Wickd again may well get focused on down that bottom lane. Froggen looking to try and create something, try and catch out one of those juicy support kills on nRated, but instead, Wickd Alliance, Wickd is pushing up, doesn't have the ward coverage that he had before, and actually wisely chooses to back away.
Yeah, his teleport is going to be ready very soon here, so he's going to stay down this bottom lane, force someone from SK to stay. At the moment, it's Candy Panda, constantly picking up farm. It means, though, the Baron spawning in 30 seconds, unless Candy Panda decides to run up with his team, it should be an easy one for Alliance because they will have the teleport advantage on Wickd as long as he doesn't get interrupted by the condemn from Candy Panda.
Yeah, and that's what he's trying to do. I think he's going to try and keep Wickd away from this one. He's chasing him up that lane, wants to keep that pressure going. Candy Panda getting farm every step of the way, but he's still a long way behind Tabzz in terms of farm. 400 to 300 CS, and of course doesn't have the kills either. Tabzz doing a fantastic job at keeping himself in this one. Froggen, he's got himself around the backside of Jesiz here. That Dark Binding almost certainly put a stop to that target aggression, and Jesiz just simply body slamming away.
And there is a pink ward from Alliance onto Baron, so they have full vision control, except for this, actually, this ward right here. If they can keep it alive from SK's side, they will always know if Alliance is moving towards the area or if they're trying to set up something. That's why they can see them here waiting.
Death Bush ready and waiting. They know there's only 2 members, I feel, in there. They didn't go aggressive, though. Freddy looking towards it. Froggen does show himself. They're going to get a mid-turret out of this one.
It's a very nice move here. Remember, Wickd is going to need to teleport in to join the fight.
He's teleporting now. He's actually coming around towards the backside here. He's going to come around. Freddy's going to get caught out. They're going aggressive on towards SK. Solar Flare only catching on nRated. Not really the target they wanted. Candy Panda certainly is. He's going to QSS quickly off that ultimate. But he do see Froggen taking down Freddy, and that is the tankiest member of SK taken down nRated with that ultimate running. Shook Skane not taken low. Candy Panda now the focus. That's where they want to go. He's the only damage really on the team. They're going to try and lock him up there. He's just going to run for his life, but it was a 1-for-0, sorry, for Alliance, and SK, they can't get involved in this Baron anymore.
No, Alliance moving straight up to the Baron here. Candy Panda needs to recall now, so it's going to be a long time before he can join in, and with all the damage from Alliance, they should be able to pick this one up fairly easily. Making sure he's not taking any damage from the Baron. He doesn't want to risk dying. He wants the buff, of course, and also he wants to be able to smite, because Svenskeren is still alive.
Yeah, Sven did not back away from this one. He's going to come in, but it's too late. He's just going to have to leap away because Alliance took that Baron down very quickly.
And we actually saw in the team fight here, Froggen used his ultimate onto Candy Panda, instantly QSS it, cleansed away the debuff from the ultimate, so of course the damage won't be applied. And then Candy Panda, he just didn't have any target to go for because Wickd was close to him in the face, there was a pillar, and Shook was the closest target, and Shook with Thornmail, with Radiant's Omen, of course, very hard to kill. So there's not really any target for Candy Panda to go for, as long as the front line of Alliance is in his face.
Alliance certainly dominating all the objectives so far. You saw it there. All 5 dragons, both Barons so far in this game, which has given them that gigantic objective goal, along with that 6-4 in turrets. Now, of course, the 12 goal kill advantage they have. So 42 minutes in this one. It is a gigantic boost for Alliance, and this could step them to their 8th consecutive win. This would be a record in the spring split, bettering Fnatic's own record at the start of the season when they went 7-0, which is an incredible turnaround for Alliance when you think of how bad their objective control was at the very start of the season.
Very true, and you just also have to give credit to every single member because they don't have a weak lane anymore. Wickd did so well in the top lane, outfarmed Freddy. Mid lane, of course, Froggen getting 2 early kills, always having the pressure onto Jesiz. And down the bot lane, we saw Nyph setting up kills, and of course Shook always being around, always applying pressure. So every single member from Alliance are just playing so well.
Well, they made us feel fairly foolish at the start of the season. Obviously, a lot of people were calling this team to do great things, and after their horrendous start, we were just thinking, do we know what we're on about in this game anymore? Do we really? Are we relevant? Do we know what's going on? But instead, of course, we do. Alliance are going aggressive. They're going to go towards that inhibitor, and they take that down with ease. SK simply spectators in this game now.
And they can rotate towards the top lane because the minion wave is coming down here. Bottom lane, it's going to take a while before it pushes towards SK, so they won't have the assistance from it now. So they just need to focus on here, and that's, of course, where SK just have to try and wave clear, and then hope Alliance dives onto them, and then they can at least try and respond.
Froggen is laying in wait. No vision of him for SK here. They haven't got any wards plonked over that ward. That river, and he's going to go straight on towards nRated. The pop will come down, nRated's going to go down. Not enough to save him, and that surely should single the game here. Oh, big damage from the explosive cast there. Shook does not get taken down. Instead, Zhonya's outclass from Jesiz. That's going to save him for a couple of seconds longer. Freddy with the GA. It won't get taken down. He will back away from it, but he is the only other surviving member. Svenskeren running in. The Nexus turrets are going to go down. Alliance will take the 8th win in a row. It has been a fantastic turnaround, and for the 3rd week running, they have themselves a perfect 2-0 victory.
And just a brilliant game from Alliance. Every single lane did so well. The early game, they managed to get to dragons early on, got some kills on to key members like Froggen so he could start split pushing. We saw it again and again. He went top lane, forced Freddy out of the lane, took the turret, went down bot lane, got a kill. Everything for Alliance with this combo, they did so right in the early game, and that's why they could just win the game. And SK just had to try and farm up all the time, and it didn't work for them.
And if Alliance, they take one more victory in Super Week next week, they will equal the all-time European record of 9-0. Incredible stuff, incredible turnaround by a team that really was